Hello people, I am Jaby Koay, joined by Natasha, Martinez, and we are looking at the Tharoor Guide to Indian English from Brut, India, the YouTube channel. They are currently sitting at 352,000 subscribers, so if you like the content that we're about to watch together, consider going over to their channel, hitting the subscribe button, and giving the original video an upvote. Quick fun fact, Shashi Tharoor, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, he did a video a while back at Oxford, and we did a reaction to it 3 years ago. We were just looking at this to get educated, to Char and myself. I had no idea that that video was gonna blow up. It has 3.8 million views.
Whoa!
And so since then, we haven't actually looked at another one of his videos, and I always wanted to, but I just never got around to it. And so I saw this pop up as a recommendation on YouTube. I'm like, why not? Let's check this out.
Let's do it.
So here we go, the Tharoor Guide to Indian English.
There are these Indian words which don't exist in any Indian language and don't exist in any other form of the English language.
Yes.
Like brinjal.
Okay. Right.
So in the Western world, it's eggplant. Right. And in India, there is no Indian language where it's called brinjal. It's called Bengan, it's called Vaidarinya in Malayalam, Begun in Bangla. Yeah. But you can't have anyone saying brinjal except in Indian English.
You've introduced India to many words like rhodomontade and farrago and hippopotamonstrous sesquipedaliophobia.
Whoa!
So I'd like you to introduce us to one more of your favorite words.
Well, you know, when a kid asked me that at a gathering in a school in Trivandrum, I told him the word that I would introduce him to was to read. And then he'd come across his own words, and I wouldn't have to spoon feed him a word. But there are lots of interesting words. As you know, yesterday I reminded the nation of a word called snollygoster, which is an 1845 American concoction, meaning a shrewd and unprincipled politician. I had produced it when one particular chief minister jumped ship and went and joined the party he'd campaigned against. And when something similar seemed to be happening overnight on the weekend, I dusted this out and said, latest usage today. So that's one word which I think at least a lot of people now seem to be familiar with in India. Another word that I've been fond of in the sense that I feel it could be used more often, especially in our politics, is defenestrate. Defenestrate means literally to throw out of the window, but it's meant to be used to simply mean to reject, to discard, to expel, all of those things. And I love that word. I've been using it since my college days, and I'm surprised that it's not more widely used. So defenestrate. Defenestrate the political opportunists from our politics, for example, would be a good thing.
I feel like I need to take notes.
I know, me too. I feel like I'm in class, like a good class.
No, I coined one or two in the Great Indian Novel. Too embarrassing to mention in public. But they never caught on, so we can.
But please tell us.
No, I can't. Not on TV.
Oh, okay.
This is going to remain on the net as a permanent indictment. And I coined a slightly naughty word in the Great Indian Novel, which I'll whisper to you, and you can go and look it up later. But you won't catch me saying it. Okay. But then I also coined a term which I wanted to see getting more popular, which is not really a new word particularly, but as Minister of State for External Affairs, I suggested in a couple of speeches that India was moving on beyond non-alignment to multi-alignment. When I said it, it kind of fell with a thud, and no one took it seriously, and no one quoted it and got no attention. Now it's come back into vogue, and I was complimenting my friend, the Foreign Minister, Jaishankar, that in one of his speeches, he used the term multi-alignment. So 10 years after I had tried and failed, it may be coming into circulation.
Right. That's fantastic. That's an exclusive for the English Note.
There you are for the English Note.
Thank you so much. Now, another subject which is close to your heart is about the British looting India.
That's what the video is about.
And loot is one of
Char and I
the words
watched.
that you have written and spoken about in the past. Could you talk to us about some of the other words that the British have looted from India?
Oh God, there are so many. I mean, there must be, without exaggeration, close to 1,000 words in the complete the big fat Oxford English Dictionary that have come from Indian languages. But some I wouldn't really count as English words because they're very obviously unchanged Indian words that they put in. Some, however, though very much current in English usage, and many English people don't realize have come from India, to the Indian ear are very obviously Indian, like jungle, bungalow, things that guru, yoga. I mean, many people, oddly enough, in the Western world don't realize that these words have come from Indian languages. But then there are the really surprising ones, words that don't actually look or sound Indian the way the British pronounce them, which are actually derived from, and then of course mispronounced, Indian words. So one that I particularly was struck by when I discovered it about 10, 15 years ago was shampoo. Because shampoo came from the British saying champo when they got their servants to wash their hair. So press and knead and rub your hair is champo. Everything was an imperative.
No way!
And then
Really?
Champo became I'm going for a shampoo. And that's how shampoo came into being.
I believe a Bengali by the name of Sheikh Din Muhammad took it.
And he actually set up an entire series of salons or spas where he offered the shampoo, exactly.
Wow.
That's
This is so cool.
Bihar, actually, but Bihar was part of the Bengal presidency. That's what
I'd like to
happened.
take credit for everything.
You should. The other one was cash, which comes from Tamil. I mean, I had no idea that cash came from. I mean, I could guess that mulligatawny soup was actually mulligatawny, which simply means hot pepper water. And that's in Tamil. But that cash had come from a Tamil word was a discovery to me. So things like that, I think there are quite a few. Even Wikipedia has over 100 from various Indian languages. And if you go to a more serious sort of linguistic study, I'm sure you'll get several hundred.
Right.
Wow.
Catamaran is another one.
That's again from Tamil kattamaram. In fact, katta is literally to cut and maram is wood.
Right.
So that's what a catamaran is from. And then, of course, if you want to look at kamarband, a very elegant English gentleman wearing something around his waist, it's actually kamarband, you see. Just as, by the way, this may surprise you, when you see pictures of these Mexican revolutionaries like Zapata with bandanas around their head, it comes from bandhana. Exactly.
Yeah. And bangle comes from Bangli in
Yes. Bangles, I think you could guess, no?
Yeah.
Jungle, bangle,
But
etc.
okay, do you know the word for a type of clothing which is inspired by the neighborhood of Bombay called Dongri?
No, I didn't know that. There is a neighborhood called Dongri. And that's the dungaree, I
The
suppose. Yeah?
dungarees are from Dongri.
So there is
I love how joyous he is
Yeah, I know.
talking about language. It's so cute.
Well, he's nerding out.
Yeah.
Racket called a Dulali. And that comes from Devlali.
I believe
Not to mention the Jalpa, which is the Jodhpur, of course.
Yeah. Right. And indigo, the word indigo too comes from the Greek word for India.
What?
You've also written about Indianisms like native place. So what are some of your other favorites?
Well, there's so many. Some of them they just slip into conversation quite routinely. My favorite for the longest time was pre-porn because I thought I'd invented it. But air dash is another Indianism. Then the newspaper reports about police tracking down criminals always refer to history sheeters. There is a criminal with a long record of crimes. It's called a history sheeter. Where that comes from is all Indian English. Then there's, of course, the expressions, of which the most famous one is please adjust. Kindly adjust, actually. Not please adjust, kindly adjust. That is when a fifth person sits on a bench meant for two and says, kindly adjust. Then there's also the classic, we are like this only. So you can come up with a few of those.
So after the US, India has the second highest number of English speakers. And with our birth rate, I think we're soon going to have the highest number of English speakers.
Yeah, but the US has an immigration rate. So they've already reached, I think, over 300 million.
Okay.
Whereas our census severely undercounts.
Not everybody here speaks
so
English.
you may find it difficult to have bragging rights over the actual numbers.
Right.
Because, for example, in the Indian census, I'm not considered an English speaker. Since the census only asked me what's my mother tongue, which is Malayalam. So I'm not listed. At least the year that I did the census, there was no supplementary question saying what other languages do you know.
So they've underestimated the number.
Seriously underestimated. In fact, I think the official census claim is 2% speak English.
Right.
Which is a massive undercount.
Yeah.
So I would say the reality is somewhere between 10 and 20%, with varying degrees of competence and fluency of the Indian population. Now, if we take that number, then you're looking at about 260 million, which is still lower than America.
So, but I think that with our birth rate, we are going to, exceed.
All right, good for you and your faith in our birth rate.
So anyway, because that brings me to the next question.
This must have been recorded before Corona.
With the
Definitely.
growing number of English speakers in India and with our growing influence in the world, do you think that passengers on the London Underground wearing cashmere sweaters will ask other passengers to kindly adjust? Will New Yorkers ask their meetings to be preponed? And will tanned Torontonians describe their complexion as wheatish.
British. Oh, that's a good one.
Do you think that these words will find their way into the rest of the
No, actually, no. I'll tell you what. One of the strengths as well of English is the fact that there are so many regional variants. That, there's a very distinctive Australian English, which even New Zealanders can tell apart from a New Zealander's English, though we probably can't. And there are real distinctions between the English spoken around London and the English spoken around Yorkshire, let alone Scotland or Ireland. And all these variations have what makes it distinctive, and therefore Indian English has every right to be as distinctive as Irish English or American English. And it's curious, for example, that in India, at least for the longest time, I've not heard it much since returning to India, but when I left India, people still spoke in furlongs. How far are you away from?
I wonder what these things are that keep popping up.
Oh yeah, I know. Like, why do they keep blurring
it out? In English. Yeah. Then there are these Indian words which don't exist in any Indian language and don't exist in any other form of the English language, like brinjal. Right. So in the Western world, it's eggplant, right? And in India, there is no Indian language where it's called brinjal. It's called Bengan, it's called Vaidarinya in Malayalam, Begun in Bangla. Yeah. But you can't have anyone saying brinjal except in Indian English. Right. So where does it come from? I haven't looked it up. But the fact is, it's an Indian English word that only exists in Indian English.
Cool.
How was that for you?
Oh, that was fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was in a great college course of language, and I just was so in tune to like the knowledge that he had and how the interviewer was so like geeking out over everything, and it was really amazing to watch. And I would have never guessed shampoo was a word, cash was a word from India. I was like, oh my God. I guess I don't really think about the origin of English words so much.
We don't very often, no.
And so this was really fascinating.
It explains why a lot of our words are difficult to spell sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it comes from other languages.
Exactly. Like, obviously we all know like that Latin is a big base for like our language, but I would have never thought India was as well. So this was really cool and I loved it.
English is definitely a hodgepodge of a lot of stuff. Rendezvous is not an English word, The thing about it is, like, I find Indian English so fascinating. A lot of what he was mentioning, I've never heard before. There are things that come up a bit, like phrases and words where I'm like, wow, that's only in Indian English, because we don't say that over here in the States. There's a phrase called taking my case, which means, are you pulling my leg? Are you taking my case?
Oh.
And I'm like, where did you get that? I want to know the evolution of how you got to that.
Yeah.
I don't even understand the origin of pulling my leg or pulling my chain. Taking my case is even further removed from anything that makes any, I don't even understand how you got there. I mean, it can be used in different ways, and I never say it correctly. There's a certain inflection you're supposed to say it, but I always mess it up, where you go, matter what?
Matter what?
Yeah, because basically they're asking, are you crazy?
Oh.
Right? Mad or what?
Oh, mad or what?
Yeah.
I thought it was matter or what.
No, mad or what?
Mad or what?
And so you're basically asking if the person's nuts.
Huh.
And what I've discovered is that a lot of times with Indian English, it's very efficient. We have a lot of filler words that we use, which ends up wasting time in conversation.
Yes.
Whereas they're kind of cutting to the chase of what the idea is. And sometimes they don't use certain things that we use. Like, I'm gonna read you a text from Jordanian's Nasser. He and I were texting back and forth. This is a phrase I've heard multiple times. It's pissing off.
It's pissing off.
Meaning I'm getting pissed off, or it's frustrating.
Huh.
It's frustrating. So instead of saying it's frustrating, he's saying it's pissing off.
Huh.
Like, because over here we say it's pissing me off, or it's really pissing me off, or whatever. But there are Indians or people that, who use English in a different way, and they go, it's pissing off. It's so pissing off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a...
How did you get that?
Yeah, like, it's just interesting. So, that's...
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I guess it's similar to like phrases that they would use in like the UK rather than like here.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
And same thing with like Australia as well.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's something that we don't often, like I said, take the time to really understand how we come up with phrases like pulling my chain or it's pissing me off, you know? We just say them, but it's brilliant to see somebody who just is like a human encyclopedia and dictionary and just can, pull it out of here and get so joyful talking about it. Like I could watch him for hours.
There's one other one that I always call on. I was watching this AIB video, for those of you that watch AIB. In the middle of it, this guy's like trying to express how copacetic he finds a situation. And he goes, I'm damn chill. And that's a phrase that Indians use. I'm damn chill. And it's like, we don't say that here.
No, we don't.
But I think it's
I wish we did.
But it sounds like such a cool way to express that you find the situation copacetic. It's
I'm
perfectly
damn
fine.
chill.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We wouldn't even say, like, excuse the language, we wouldn't even say I'm fucking chill unless you were mad.
Yeah.
Like you were upset, then you would use that, right? But you say I'm damn chill, like it's just like you're just expressing how fine you are with the situation, right?
I'm gonna start saying that. I'm damn chill.
Yeah.
People be like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was really fascinating. I gotta watch the other video that you were talking about.
It definitely opens your eyes to a lot of the reparations that were never made for the Indians by the British, because they basically just came in there and used the resources and left. And when they left the situation worse than it was. So, yeah.
And that's what colonizers do.
Exactly. So he's a fascinating guy, and I, you know, the way he speaks, he's just very soothing to listen to.
He is.
I almost wonder if the host here who was talking to him, geeking out is obviously one thing, but I wonder if he was just happy to be talking to him.
Oh, I'm sure. You could tell he was just like it's been probably a dream to speak to him, and he's just like soaking it all in and learning, and also trying to, you know, kind of get on his level. Like that was cute when he was like, oh, our birth rate, and he's like, that's nice that you have faith in our birth rate, but go ahead with your question. It was really cool. So very, very fascinating.
You guys hopefully enjoyed some of that. Make sure to check out Brut India. I don't actually know how you say it, but check out their channel. There's a link in the description below, just below the video. Please give the original video an upvote. Give the channel a subscribe. Also subscribe here if you haven't already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, short films, vlogs, and interviews. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
Natasha Martinez.
Peace out.